makers, welcome back. Today we're doing a beautiful tulip tutorial with a little butterfly as well. I am working on an 8x10 canvas panel, and I am working with the colors black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and white. I also have some mixing plates to mix up all my colors, some paper towels, a thing of water, and my brushes. Now I recommend at least having one type of flat brush, like one of these three. You can have one that's squared or one that's round at the edge, and then at least one type of pointy brush like one of these two. Now the first step is our background. We're going to be creating a lovely sky blue with a large flat brush. So I'm going to grab a scoop of white and a little touch of blue, mix those together, and we are going to get started. Starting from the top of our canvas, we're going to be throwing this paint in from side to side, again starting from the top edge and working our way down. I want us to paint to maybe about a third or a fourth of the way down, and then we're just going to get some white paint on our brush, not going to clean it, and we're going to work that white paint right underneath of that blue. The blue on your brush should mix in with the white a little bit already. You can work up into the blue to grab some more, then bring it down back into the white, and we have a lovely baby blue there in the middle. Then I'm going to get a clean brush and get into some more white paint to blend the rest of our sky out into the blank part of our canvas. If you want, you can fill up the rest of your canvas with white paint in case you don't want any bare canvas. This is an optional step. You don't have to do it, but if you want to, it's there for you. Now before we do anything else, we need to let our painting dry, which takes about 10-15 minutes. And when we come back now, we're going to be starting on our flowers. So I'm using a small pointy brush and mixing up a lovely hot pink for my first set of tulips. To paint a tulip, I like to start at the bottom by creating the letter U. This is creating a lovely base for where we want our flowers to be. And after that U shape, we need to figure out how many petals are really seen in our tulip. Some have 2, some have 3, maybe even 4. So we're going to come up and kind of in towards the center, almost like a teardrop. But then we're going to sort of leave this kind of mouth opening, almost like a Pac-Man or like the Millennial Falcon. And then we're just going to fill it in. We have one pink flower top left corner, and I'm going to have another pink flower to the right and down a little bit. And this one's going to have 3 petals instead of 2. These, I like to almost think of them as just like little mountain peaks. Now while that paint is still wet, we're going to get a clean pointy brush and get into some white paint. Using the white, we're going to add some highlights to the petals. This can also help define which petals are sitting in front of what the other petals. You can see I can kind of draw some lines to diversify them. Add some highlights in just the top edges of them and have it blend with that pink. So you want to do this while that paint is still wet. Next, we're going to be mixing up an orange. So with a clean pointy brush, we're going to grab some orange and some white paint. And we're going to do the same exact steps that we did with our pink flowers. Now these ones are a little different. At the bottom of these flowers, I'm just going to take some fresh orange paint, not mixed with any white, and just along the bottom edge, give it a nice little shadow of this bright orange. Then I'm going to be mixing up a yellow for some yellow flowers with a scoop of white and a scoop of yellow, taking the same steps we did with the pink and orange flowers, and this time at the bottom of our flowers for the shadowing, we're just going to take some of the lighter orange we mixed up and throw that at the bottom, just like we did with the bright orange on the orange flowers. Now we're going to be getting to our butterfly. So our butterfly is basically a lighter and more warm version of our yellow, so adding some white and orange to the yellow I already mixed up. Then I'm going to figure out where the center of my butterfly is going to be. So with a pointy brush, just doing a nice little dot. And the wings are basically like a leaf shape. They're pointy at the end and thicker in the middle. So using light pressure at the tip of the wing and pushing a lot harder as you get towards the center of the butterfly. We're going to do that 4 times and it almost looks like a little flower. Then we're going to be mixing up the color for the stems and leaves. So clean, small pointy brush. And we're going to be mixing up a lovely lime green with a big scoop of yellow, a very small touch of green, and a nice big scoop of white. Then we're going to take this color and draw our stems. We want to use very light pressure so that these are very thin, and they can be rounded. They don't have to go down straight. As we know, tulips are pretty flimsy, so if the wind is blowing, you might have one that's a little wibbly wobbly, bent over. So throwing all these stems in. And then for the leaves, some are coming down towards the bottom and you don't see them connecting to the actual stem, but some do connect to some of the stems. We're using the same technique we did with the butterfly wings, where you use light pressure at the tip of the leaf and then press harder down at the bottom of the leaf. Then we're going to be making a darker, more grassy green. So taking my small pointy brush, adding another scoop of green and yellow to cancel out some of that white paint. And then we're going to be throwing this throughout our leaves and stems. We're going to make one last and final green that is the darkest shade, so grabbing a scoop of green and even a little bit of orange. This will create a lovely dark mossy green, and this will be the last little touch into our leaves that really gives it that depth. Leaves and as well as parts of our stems. Now we're all done with the bright colors. We're going to start in with all of the black detail work. With a small pointy brush with black paint, going to be drawing the body and the head for our butterfly. Just a nice little line and a little tiny circle at the top. Then the little antenna are little curlicues. And then we're going to be drawing these little tick mark lines that basically show the flight path of our butterfly. These have little spaces in between them, and it's coming from the bottom and the top of our butterfly, all the way to the top edge and to the left edge. Now we're going to work on giving the wings some detail work. So I'm going to be drawing an outline of black around each wing, as well as some lines inside. They kind of resemble veins or tree branches in a way. But just make sure that each wing looks the same as the opposite side, right? The wings can also get a couple dots of black and white paint. Next, with that black paint, we're going to define our flowers. So this is using that same black paint, same pointy brush, drawing lines around the outside edge and showing which petals go in front of others. This is really sketched out. It doesn't need to be perfect. Some lines don't connect to others. Feel free to give it a coloring book look. And then lastly, we're going to be adding some detail work to our leaves. So we're tracing the outside of the leaf, but also throwing these tiny little lines throughout the leaf to give it some texture. And then to the stems of our flowers, we're just going to add a touch at the top left of each stem to show that it's connecting to the flower, and then just a few lines on either one of the sides or even in the middle of the stem just to give it a sort of pop against our painting background. Now that is the last and final step to creating our lovely tulip painting, and we'd love to see what you're painting at home. Feel free to post on social media, and don't forget to tag us at muse_paintbar so we can check them out. If you want to see more tutorials from our channel, make sure you like and subscribe, and with that, don't forget to always paint outside the lines.